Welcome to Moments with Mitch. I am your host, Mitch Brewer. Some people call me the insurance man. Now, let me just say, I do this for fun. Today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, where we're celebrating Martin Luther King Jr. And so a lot of the agencies or insurance companies that I would normally deal with are closed. And so I thought I would just take a minute to reach out and talk to my YouTube friends. Today, what I want to address, and let me just say this before I get started real good. A big shout out to my assistant, Unica. She's the one that puts all of the little signs up telling you to, like and subscribe and do all that kind of stuff. And she tries to edit out all my ands and my ums and my filler words. She's the one that makes me look good. Okay, so thank you, Unica. And maybe one day we'll even do a show where I can interview and let you meet my assistant. I think she's a wonderful lady. There's something I wanted to talk to about today, and it's something that's been on my mind because it's something that I'm seeing up close and personal. Because I'm like you guys, I like to go to YouTube. I have my favorite YouTube channels that I watch, and I use it for learning and research and all kinds of things, just like you guys do. But one thing I've really noticed, it seems like the doom and gloom is really spreading. Like you can go in there and you can find a million doom and gloom subjects to watch today. And that's what I want to talk to you about. I don't think it's healthy. Now, when we look at news, it's a very different news style than when I grew up. There's war. There's countries that are coming out and saying, be prepared for war. In fact, I saw one yesterday where it was was it Switzerland? I want to say was telling its people to prepare for war. So there's a lot of stuff going over in Europe. If you watch all this stuff, it really looks like the world is burning. And what I want to caution you about is absorbing too much of that. Because when I look out my kitchen window, it's cloudy, it's in the low 40s, but the world's not on fire, not outside my kitchen window. And I want us to stop and think about how to handle this, because it's really affecting some of my friends. Like when I'm having conversations with them, I'm seeing some of them are just losing hope. When I look at the insurance statistics, I mean that's the main thing I deal with in my work is insurance companies and things. Suicide is off the chart. I think that it needs to be addressed. I think we need to have a conversation about it. So my goal here is just to start the conversation. I would love to hear, your input on solutions. Now we want to keep this solution oriented, okay? But what I would like for us to think about is, what are we really allowing into our brains? Are we watching the doom and gloom all day and then we can't figure out why we don't have any hope? Because that is a choice. These are choices of what we take in. I can spend the same amount of time watching the doom and gloom, or I could spend that time maybe listening to an audio book on improving myself, or watching a YouTube channel on how to improve myself. So, what we allow in our brains, what we focus on, is what we're going to get more of. So let's focus on good things. Let's focus on good things. Let's focus on things that we can control. So what are some of the things that we can control? We can control the information that goes in our brains. We can control the food that we eat in our bodies. And I can say that even as a big man, because I tell you what, I'm pretty proud of the fact that I've lost almost 100 pounds. It was a decision. It was getting the right information. Number one, I had to have the right information, and I had to make a decision to follow up on that information and stick to it and make the same boring decision on what I'm going to eat over and over and over. Same boring decision. So we can control those things. We can control the people that we hang with. Now, let me say this. I'm not a big fan of this cancel culture stuff because there's a lot of people that'll just say, you know what, if you got somebody that is maybe on a different path than you are, or they disagree with you, they hate you. That's not, which by the way is not true. It just means they have a different opinion than you are. Maybe they've had different experiences than you. But I will say that if you have people that you are around on a regular basis, you may want to at least limit some of it, some of the interaction, if they're the type of person who keeps telling you can't do it. If you have a dream and goals, okay, and you're expressing that around people that don't, they're gonna be negative about your goals and your dreams. So I would suggest keeping some of that to yourself unless you're speaking with somebody that can actually help you. That's something that I learned um, very young, and it served me well. So we can control the people that we spend a lot of time with. And if it is somebody at your work and you just can't avoid them, pick your battles. Pick your battles, because I'll tell you something, what we all really want is a peace of mind. Peace of mind. All right. And if somebody's constantly telling you, like if you share, you're like, hey man, I want to try to get ahead. I want to try to take a trip. I want to try to retire. Well, they may not believe that they have those opportunities, even though they, probably do. They're going to try to shoot you down, try to take that away from you. So it's just best to keep it to yourself, unless it's somebody would support your goal, your dream, or at least not shoot you down. So don't just like stay away from people altogether, cut them out of your life. But I would, but because if that is happening and you really do want to help the people, you're not going to help them by staying away. When you end the conversation, there is no more help. All right. So it possibly could be that you're not running away and dealing with the problem and being a good example would teach them. When I started my weight loss journey, which has been about 2 years ago, I finally got up with a lady that was um, she was a pharmacist by trade, and she had been working at a diabetes clinic, helping people lose weight and come off the medicine. And the clinic came to her and said, "That's not really the business we're in." And she left. And so I found her on social media, and I hired the lady, and I got the information. And I mean, I was so excited because it was just little changes. That's the thing, folks. It's little changes. Most of the time, it's not huge changes that are needed. All right. Now I've still got some weight goals that I'm working on, and the because of the amount that I have lost, I'm sure that I'm probably going to have to work 2 or 3 times as hard to get to get to that next level. Okay. It may take a little longer, but that's fine. All right. But even the people that are around me, like they can see that I got to look different. I physically look different. And they don't sit around and say, "Oh, come on, eat another plate. Come on, Mitch, you just eat one more." They don't do that. They don't do that. And in fact, I've had other friends that said, "You know what? Look at Mitch. Mitch is losing some weight. He's making some progress. Maybe I can too." Now they took a little bit different route, but you never know who you may inspire by just sticking to your goals and making some very small changes. It could be just a small change. But see, I found a person that had already dealt with this problem before, and she wasn't emotionally attached to the problem. So that third party looking in was a big part of the secret. All right. So we can control what we eat, we can control what we watch, we can control who we listen to or hang around, share with, how close we get. Nothing really wrong with playing some of these games. In fact, a couple of years ago, I had a neighbor that had an Xbox, and I started playing it with them a little bit, and I kind of enjoyed it. I ended up going and I bought me a used one. I was smart about it. I didn't see this is the decisions that we make. I could have went out and bought a new one, but I knew that a PlayStation was coming out, and the very day that that came out, I went on the marketplace and I looked for an Xbox and said, "Hey, if you're upgrading and you're getting you a new machine, I'd like to buy your old machine." And I have just as much fun with my old machine, my used machine, as they do with the new machine. Right? It does just fine. I just didn't spend the money that the other people spent. So I was able to get what I wanted. I said, be patient for it. Right? So another thing that we can control is how we treat other people. If you don't believe me, just go out in traffic for a little while. I live in Burlington, North Carolina. It's a town of about 65,000 people. That's a pretty good sized town. I really like smaller towns. Would be my preference. You go out into traffic, and people change. People change when they get behind the wheel of a car, right? Some of them get like very aggressive. They'll be showing you hand signals at the thing or blowing the horn. Most of it's unnecessary. Like, it doesn't cost money to be kind to people. Be kind to people, especially if you want people to be kind to you. Because what I figured out is whatever you put out, you're going to get it back, and you're going to get it back even more. So that's why that it's more blessed to give than receive. It's easier to give than receive too, by the way. Just some things to think about. You don't have to sit there and watch in fact, if you go to certain platforms, you can scroll through, right? But you can also go up to the tabs button, and there'll be like videos or things like that. On some platforms, if you go up there and you click on it, it's all politics. And I'm gonna tell you something: politics, multiple blood sucking animals. All right. And it's very controversial. You're not really, unless you're a politician, what are you really accomplishing by letting all that junk in your brain? People have beliefs, and they're going to vote with their beliefs. And I've never seen anybody really. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not happened. I've seen a few people online that, like celebrity type people now, but they said that they were changed. Their minds were changed through some of the stuff that they saw on social media. But really, I mean, to me, it's fruitless. It's fruitless because if I were to engage in that, I would be spending my time arguing with somebody that doesn't. They're probably not going to change their mind, and even if they do, how's it really going to benefit me or those around me? I could be listening to an audio book and learning new skills. I could be watching YouTube channels and learning new skills, learning about things, learning more and more and more about how money works. Because, like it or not, folks, this is an economic planet, and you ain't gonna get away from it, right?